Yeah, I don't have an answer for that one. I mean, those are three. You throw Lodge in there, and they got 3 NFL draft pick, probably top 3 round type talents, and so you do the best you can to try to get your hands on them and be physical and hang in there as much as you can, but you don't stop guys like that. You just try to slow them down as much as you can. That's what, when you watch their offense, that's, to me, what jumps out more than anything, just that overall wide receiver talent. I mean, they're a good offense everywhere, but that is elite talent at that position in the country.
After the events that transpired last week, this week with DeLeon, has he acted a little differently, or is he just ready to go and just completely pass him and all of that?
No, he's been himself. He's never wavered from that and just focused on academics and football.
Would you guys say you're playing with more of a chip on your shoulder entering this season?
I don't know, more. I think I've said it all along, more experience. There's definitely a more veteran group here, guys that have played as freshmen and sophomores, are now juniors and seniors and been through a lot. And I would say, I don't know if it's a chip on your shoulder, but it's a more experienced group that feels like they have something to prove.
Coach, I know you have DeLeon starting. I guess what's the battle like for the backup spot with Trey and Demarcus? And is there a reason that there was an or there, or are they still kind of battling right now?
Yeah, they are. Both guys we know can carry the load for us. They both have done it before and started Big 12 games and played well in Big 12 games. And so we're going to get them both reps and go from there. But they both worked hard, both seniors, both know what we expect from them. And it's a good issue to have, kind of that second and third guy to have that type of experience.
I know we haven't mentioned his name a lot, but Dante Thompson, what's his status, and I guess what's his advancement been, especially with the way that you guys are trying to kind of tailor the offense now?
Yeah, he was our most improved player in the spring, voted on by the coaches. Playing some tight end stuff, special teams wise, he can split out and play the Y as well, and so he's got a really versatile role that allows us to do some things, and really proud of his development and perseverance and how far he's come.
Coach, you have Kashan Carter listed as this 2 deep at H. Can you talk about his development, his fall camp so far?
Yeah, he's got great football IQ. Anytime we put something new in, he picks it up quickly, pays attention. All I've heard him say, he said 2 words since he's been here, and it's yes, sir. That's all I'll get out of him. So he works hard to make sure he learns it, knows it, and then he's very, very fast. So really excited about how quickly he's come along, and I think he'll continue to come along. Having Zach Austin, a 6-year guy, kind of ahead of him has been huge because Zach's seen it all, done it all, knows it inside and out, and I think that's helped his development as well.
Thing with Tajon at the kick returning spot.
Yeah, Tajon, we're going to use him at times. I don't know to what extent yet or when, but he's a good player with the ball in his hands, and he's still coming along. Got to learn our system, but we'd like to get him some touches here and there if we can make that work.
Coach, when John Bonney came into your team, how close was he to game shape, and is he?
Yeah, no doubt
now?
He was ready. I mean, he'd been in camp, he'd worked out all summer, so he didn't skip a beat.
Coach, how much practice time has Jashawn gotten in the last couple of weeks, and what's his status?
Jashawn Johnson, he'll be game time decision. He's been working back in there more and more as we go, so we'll see how we feel towards the end of the week and go from there.
If he were not available or limited, who would be likely to start in that spot?
Yeah, it's really between Dorsey, Bonnie, Quincy, and then Leggett would be kind of those 4 guys that we would work in there.
And how much of a if Jashawn is absent or limited, how much of a setback is that for you? I mean, at any time, let alone against a team with their caliber of receivers.
Yeah, obviously you'd like to have your starters. I mean, losing Ak there as a starting corner, it's tough. And then if you don't have your starting safety, that's not a great thing, but I like the depth. Bringing Bonnie in really helped us, and those young guys are coming along, so we'll have other guys step up.
Do I remember right? You recruited Demarcus Lodge here, did you not?
I think everybody did, yeah.
Your experience like with him?
He was really good player. We obviously would have liked to have him, but he's had a nice career there, and Good kid, very, very talented.
Coach, all summer we've kind of heard about how with the defense and this whole team, things have changed and whatnot. Is it an exciting opportunity to get a team like the caliber of Ole Miss, an SEC team, on ESPN on the first Saturday of the season and really show what this team can do?
Yeah, it's a great barometer for where you're at, no question. I mean, they're a very talented team. Return all those guys on offense. Defensively, have some great D linemen coming back. All the experience in the secondary, and so it's a talented team. I know they have high expectations, as do we, and so the excitement has been there since this game got made, and just glad it's here.
Ever since his injury, how involved has Octavius been kind of in the meeting room and in practice vocally?
I mean, he's been kind of dealing with surgeries and doing that, so we've been bringing him up, making sure he's staying involved, focused on academics and things he can handle, but he's been getting himself right, and then he'll get back with the team here pretty quickly.
Coach, I'll ask the question. Does the team know who the quarterback is going into Saturday's game?
I mean, you never know how much they're paying attention, but I would assume some of them have a pretty good idea.
Ideally, how many of those three would you like to see play on Saturday?
I'd like to see all three if we could make it work, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. They all three have worked really hard, have got a ton of reps, and I think they all three could manage our team. It's just we got to go with one and then kind of make a decision from there.
I know it's been a while, but have a favorite memory from your 2002 game against the Rebels?
I don't remember much from college, actually. It's been a long time, but I remember Eli played, and that was always cool because he was such a great player and still is a great player. But other than that, not really.
Following up on that 0-2 game was that was one of y'all's best games that year, was it not? Because y'all were pretty much clicking on all cylinders that day, if I remember
think
right.
We were pretty good that day. Had a couple that year that were pretty good, but that was a quality team. They were a really good football team with Coach Cutliff and Eli, and so that was a big victory.
How much pride do you and BJ take in having beaten Eli back-to-back years? Y'all ever talk about that when you see him?
I think BJ threw for about, what did he throw for? 600. So yeah, he probably took a little more pride than I did. That's a lot of yards. But no, I remember how good he was. You could just tell he had it when you watch Eli play. Decision making. I mean, the way he dropped, the way he moved, you could tell he's gonna be a great player, and he has been.
David didn't ask the question, so who is number one at quarterback?
Y'all see Saturday. He'll jog out there, and we'll go with him and start there, and then see where it goes. I've said all along, all three could end up playing. You'd like to just have one that kind of takes it and runs with it, but I'm open to whatever is best for the team.
Coach, you kind of feel like this is kind of a litmus test for this offensive line, especially with the defensive line that Ole Miss brings in?
Yeah, I'd like to see how much we've improved, bringing everybody back. You hope that the off-season workouts, the rigors of last season, the lessons learned could carry over and improve that group as a whole. And from what I've seen in camp, they are better. But this is a talented defensive line, one of the better ones that we have gone against over the last couple of years, so they'll have their hands full.
Kind of seen Paul Staywars kind of step up his game. I know he's not a very vocal guy, but he's kind of stepped up in that sense to kind of control that line.
Yeah, he leads in his own way. And from day one setting foot on campus here, I would have said he was never going to play here. And so for him to do what he's done, continue to get better, learn our offense to that extent to where he's a team leader, a leader on the offensive line, making all the calls, couldn't be more proud of his development and how far he's come.
Coach, here we are finally, games just days away after this long off season. What would you consider the team's strength or strengths to be? Like, where are you hanging your head on right now?
Yeah, I think the lines, honestly. I think offensive line, all those returners, and same with the D-line. A lot of experience back. You add Preston and Joe Wallace, who are dynamic players in that front. It's going to start up front with both those groups, and got to stay healthy and got to continue to get better, but I like where those groups are at.
Is that in years past, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, in years past, I think particularly offensively is all about skill players running around and making plays, and whether the line was blocking or not, Pat was out there doing his deal, and then you get it to Kiki and Jakeem and guys like that. So to have an offensive line that we feel like we can lean on a little bit more is a positive with the inexperience at quarterback. And then defensive line-wise, we've been chasing that for a while, trying to have 8 to 9 to 10 bodies to rotate through, playing these tempo offenses, and we feel like we're at that point. So hopefully that pays off.
And then from a recruiting perspective, playing in Houston, obviously a big recruiting hotbed, what kind of advantage and what kind of things can you get out of that?
Yeah, it's huge just to have that logo up for the last 5-6 months, that to make our imprint in Houston. National TV game, 11 a.m., ESPN, game day rolls right into it. It's a great spotlight for our program, no question.
What's it like to have a player so expendable like Dante Thompson?
He's been huge. It was something we envisioned when we recruited him here, to have a hybrid type. The last one was Jason Morrow, and Jason Morrow is a monster. Dante has a ways to go to get to that level, but he's worked, and now he's a contributor on this team. So I'm anxious to see how his role can expand and where it can go.
We hear a lot about the Ole Miss wide receivers. What have you seen from their defensive capabilities? What really stands out about where their strengths are on defense?
Yeah, I think those two guys up front are dominant players. They're interior guys and speed off the edge that can get home on the pass rush. Veteran secondary, they play a lot of man coverage, get down to your face press, get their hands on you. And then, young, fast linebackers that can run around. So they're disruptive. They get in your face. They challenge you each and every snap. Coach McGriff, you can tell, has done a great job. The way they play with energy and passion and fly around the football. So it's a challenge all the way around. We're going to earn every inch we get.
Cliff, a lot of the early focus has been on Ole Miss's receivers versus your secondary, but since you talked about how physical their secondary is and how much they challenge people, what have you communicated to a group of receivers that are somewhat unproven on your side?
Yeah, I think just what's coming. They're going to walk down your face. You're going to have to get off press coverage, and they're going to have their hands on you each and every snap, and you're going to have to earn it. We have some veterans that have played a ton, and we have some guys who haven't played a bunch, but it's one of those games where there's not going to be a lot of easy access for routes and releases. You're going to have to earn every release and every catch you get.
The new rule where players can play in up to 4 games without losing their red shirt, to what extent does that affect how you might rotate players or use players, or does it have much effect?
Yeah, I think it'll be a game-by-game basis to kind of see where you can fit them in. But we have some experience depth this year, so it hasn't become too much of an issue for us as far as, hey, they're going to play this many snaps this game. We're just going to take it game by game and see where we're at health-wise and where our depth is at.
All 3 quarterbacks have been playing really well, and I'll be excited to see who it is, too, come game day.
We talked to you a couple of weeks ago at Media Day about how special this is going to be for you. You're getting that much closer. Has it kind of hit you that you're ready to get back out on the field?
Yeah, the past 2 years, I don't even think I've made it this far. So it's kind of setting in. Come Thursday, maybe even tomorrow, I'll start realizing a little bit. Maybe the nerves will start to kick in. But like I told my dad, once the game starts, I'll be fine. And I think all of us will be fine too. So,
is it exciting whenever you're coming back and you want to prove it, but also you get the SEC's known for their defense and all that, and you get to go against it? How's that factor in for you?
I think it just makes it even more exciting. I haven't personally gone against any of the SEC teams that we've played in the past. LSU and Arkansas, I didn't get a chance to, but they're big, physical, fast, and a lot of people talk about their defense, and so it'll be really fun to go against them, and obviously really challenging.
Relatively inexperienced wide receiver core. Do you think it'll take a couple plays until guys kind of like get into the flow of things, or do you think from that first snap it'll kind of be?
I think it's always after the first snap. I can't really speak on everybody else, but For me, it's always been after that first snap, it's kind of you're locked in. I don't know how many plays we've run this fall, but it has to be over 5,000. So it's there. The plays are there. They're in your back of your mind, whether you're new or old. And, we have a bunch of old guys like me and Jay High, and TJ's been there, and Antoine's been there, Daquan's been there. So I think it'll just be, once that first play kind of gets out of the way, it'll be fine.
You said 2 or 3 weeks ago that one of your concerns was getting yourself back into game shape and getting back into the shape that the other guys were already in. How much progress do you feel like you made in that regard? Are you where you want to be? And
yeah, I think I'm good now. When I talked to you last, I was it was like 3 or 4 practices in, so I was a little bit behind those guys. They had been practicing for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a week actually, and I didn't practice that first scrimmage. So I got that second scrimmage in me, and then now practice isn't as hard as it used to be. So I'm good now.
Of course, back in the spring and summer, Cliff said he wanted you and Jadion to show those younger guys kind of how things are done. How has that evolved?
Well, I can't really speak for the younger guys, but I think me and Jay have done a pretty good job of kind of pushing these guys along. Seth was new, but he's done an excellent job of picking up the offense, and he's an older guy. He's been around the systems and stuff, so he kind of knew what to expect. Keyshawn has been really, really good about picking up the offense, and he hasn't really had any problems these past few weeks. So if that's anything to go off of, then I think we did a pretty good job. But there's more to go. We'll see.
Cliff said a moment ago that Keyshawn only says 2 words, and that's yes, sir. What's kind of your first impression of him being?
He doesn't say that to me, but yes, maybe, or a no. I'll get that. But, he's a quiet guy. He's obviously listening, though, and that's the most important thing when you're new. I try to tell those guys just to listen. If you're not doing anything else, watch, listen, look at the quarterbacks, ask questions. And although he's not, asking many questions, he doesn't talk very much, but he's definitely paying attention.
Who do you think the starting quarterback's going to be?
I'm not sure, but whoever's out there, I believe they're going to give 110% effort.
So we've heard also, things have changed with this defense and everything. Is it a cool test to get a team like Ole Miss in the first game, especially since the SEC is known for their defense? You can kind of show what you guys have to offer.
Absolutely. I think this is a great first game to get kick the season off, and hopefully it would take the rest of the momentum throughout the whole season.
There's been a lot of talk about the depth on the defensive line. What does that do for you and Jordan as linebackers?
Oh, it definitely helps us tremendously. Those guys up front, after every game, I'm going to have to buy them a meal or something, as long as they keep the offensive line off of us and allow us to fly around and make plays.
Preston was telling us earlier how on the two, even though there are 2 deeps, they really don't apply, and there's a bunch of guys that are expendable on that D-line. Do you think that's the case?
Definitely, and not only on the D-line, that's also as well as linebackers and defensive backs. So we're just excited about our depth, so everybody can be fresh and everybody can play their best ball.
Do you keep getting recognized after the last chance you?
Oh, yeah, of course. I try to go to class with a hoodie on and my headphones in. I'm just trying to learn in class. But, yeah, that's every day, and that's not just focused on winning a game.
Hey, Dakota. There's been a lot of talk about Ole Miss's receiving core, and justifiably so, but what do you see from their offensive line? What challenges do they pose?
Oh, their offensive line, they definitely have some ball players. I noticed they get a lot of wash on down blocks. Their guards are pretty athletic too. They're good at pulling, and it's definitely going to be a test up front, and it's a test that we're happy to accept.
You guys just announced the 2018 team captains, and there's 6 of them, which is a lot. But what do you think that says about just the leadership of the team, that there are 6 guys who can go out there and be leaders?
I think that just says a lot about our maturity. I feel like everybody knows where we want to be now. So that comes with more leadership because everybody has the same mindset, if that makes sense.
You mentioned their offensive line. What have you seen from their quarterback? And I know their running back they just announced as their starter is a junior college guy, but thoughts on their ability to run the ball, specifically the quarterback?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They have the ability to run and pass the ball, specifically their quarterback. I feel like he's a great dual threat quarterback. He can make some plays in the air and on his feet. The running game is incredible as well. As long as we stick to Coach Gibbs' scheme, I'm sure we'll be fine.
Dakota, do you like the morning practices better than the afternoon practices now that that's kind of a new system you guys have started?
I personally like it a lot better. After the morning classes, then we have the rest of the day to, do our academic work. I feel like that's very important. That's actually where I'm going after this. I gotta go home, do some online classes, but I really do like the morning work, practice. Oh, of course. We're all fired up about just being back, We've been training for how many months now? 10 months, and it's finally here. So we're all just excited to just play together as a team. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dakota, I guess just for you, how special is it to know that you're playing your first game as a senior back kind of close to home?
Oh, it means everything. I feel like my time here has flew by, and I try to tell the freshmen that every day. And for it to just be, my first game of the senior season, it's a surreal feeling, and we're just ready to get this season started and hopefully end it in a big way.
Tough to kind of figure out all the ticket situation, or is that something you haven't dealt with this time?
It's still in the process of getting more. I have 16 right now, so if any of you have any tickets y'all would like to give, I'll be happy to take them.
I guess for you, what does that NRG Stadium kind of mean to you, just kind of growing up kind of close to it and then either playing some games there?
Oh, definitely. I've actually played there once. That was against LSU in the bowl game. I've been there to watch the Texans play, and I just feel like it's a great atmosphere. I feel like the guys will really love it, and we just can't wait.